All right, so the buzz is never enough for people with my like personality type and my addiction type with alcohol. I envy people that can have a few drinks, enjoy a good buzz, and just stop. Like, I envy those people. That's where I wish my drinking would have peaked. But I know, and I have ingrained it into my brain, like, to remember the hangovers to deter me. I don't forget. There was a point where I would forget. Every week I'd be like, oh, I feel good. Drink. Crap. Oh, I feel good. It was like a never-ending cycle. But I also remember the buzz was never enough for me. And oddly enough, I have went out, like shot pull, had a few beers, went out, had a few drinks, and I was responsible with it. But it always tethered me into a binge drink further on. Like a few drinks now would always tether me in to more drinks down the line. I'm sure you can relate to that. Like moderating now always affected me later. Like I could never successfully moderate. I could do it for a night, a few weeks, and then it always led to more drinking. It would amp my cravings up for the following weekend. It would. It's just the way it was for me, and that will never change. And the buzz was never enough for me. For me to have 3 mixed drinks, that is where I would want to be at all times. That's perfect, but it was never enough. I would get there, and then, like the saying, first the man takes a drink, then the drink takes the man. After those 4 drinks, when I was buzzed, heavily buzzed, whatever, I'd make them pretty strong. I would keep drinking to chase the drunk, and I didn't even like the drunk, but I just could not stop. I couldn't, unless I would run out of alcohol or something would happen, or, I would just drink till I couldn't drink anymore. It was just odd. Like, it's such a weird thing how one's one too many, one more is never enough. And it is for a lot of people, and people that don't have that issue, good for you. But I do notice a correlation to people that don't get blasted on the weekends. They tend to drink 2, 3, 4 beers or, 2 mixed drinks a night, which is still a problem long term. It still adds up to 10, 12 drinks a week. It's still taxing on your liver. Like what I would do in one night is what you're doing in the whole week, right? So like it still ends up being the same consumption. Now, one could argue the binge drink is much more detrimental because of how blasted you get. You could get into legal trouble. You're blasting your liver all at once. Like, I understand those arguments, but overall, even the moderate everyday drinker it's not good. But these are all multivitamins and allergy reliefs. But I don't know why I just saw them in the shot, and I'm like, yeah, that's all I take, multivitamins. But, yeah, it's just, it's a conundrum I can't wrap my head around. How I like the buzz the most, but I'd always go to blackout drunk, and I hated that feeling. I think there was a part of me that liked that, being completely out of control and being completely numb. But overall, I remember being in that state thinking, this sucks. Like, why do I chase this? Every time, it's like, this is stupid. The buzz, it just was never good enough, even though that was my favorite part. I remember like having a few drinks, gaming or going out, and that was like my best. I could still perform. I was having fun. I was moderately buzzed, but it always, every drink after that, it just became more and more toxic, sluggish, terrible. And then I'd consume so much that within like an hour, I'd go from like really buzzed to like just blacked out drunk. It was just ridiculous. It really was. And I don't miss it. But if you're one of those types of people that, chase that buzz and always go past, just know it's always going to be that way. You're never going to be able to just hit that buzz and stop every time. You might be successful for a little while. And you know what? If you are successful doing it, I'm never going to say nothing's possible. I just know a majority of people cannot sustain just a buzz and be done with it. It's just the way it is. It's the way it is, man. But if you are, good for you, and I'm happy for you. I know I can't. If I went and bought a bottle tonight, I could only imagine 2 or 3 drinks would get me freaking flattened anyways. My tolerance would be like 0. But I'd get buzzed, and then I would go till I was drunk, you know? I know I would. I remember weeknights, when I had the very few weeknights I've drank, or like a weekend where I had to work a Saturday overtime, and I was like, all right, screw it. I'm going out on a Friday partying, like a house party or something. I drink till like 1, 2 a.m., and I'd always after a few drinks, I get buzzed, and I just wouldn't care. I wouldn't even care about work. I'd get blasted, and I'd still go in, feel terrible. But I'd be like, oh, I'm just going to have a few. I'm going to tame it out. And I'd still hit that point where I just did not care. It was like this weird buzz level where, like, if I was like 4 mixed drinks in right now, I'm a different person. Like, I don't care about work. I'll go in feeling like crap. All priorities and, like, the logical thinking side of my brain, like, shuts off. And it's like, whatever. Let's do it. Let's get wasted. You know what I mean? Even though I know what's coming in the morning. But, yeah. The buzz was just never good enough. Even though that was the best part. I still can't wrap my head around it. And I never will. It's like once the alcohol's in the system, it doesn't matter about that buzz. It's just, as a binge drinker, you're always going to go past that. And an oral fixation comes in with this too. Same with vaping, smoking. When I was doing all that years ago, it's an oral fixation. And drinking is too. It's the movement. That's why coffee is replacing alcohol. That's why this is going to be hard for me to quit for the 3rd time. I've done it. My caffeine consumption's way greater this time around. I'm going to do it. I'm dreading it. I don't know when. I'm scared because I know I'm going to feel like crap. I should have done it during this 4-day stretch, but I'm not trying to feel like crap when I'm out with, like, friends and family, you know? I'm not trying to, like, ruin the holiday weekend because I know I'm going to be sluggish. I'm going to want to sleep, a headache, which I'll try to counter with, like, ibuprofen or something. Even if it has a minimal amount of caffeine, it'll be like a weaning effect. I should cut back slowly, but I can't. It's like a pot of coffee plus on the weekends each day. It's ridiculous. But it's an oral fixation. It's having something there. Same with alcohol. When I'd have a case of beer or I'd have a bottle of liquor or a mixed drink, it was always having a drink. This should be a separate video. But I remember I would be halfway through a drink and, like, in my mind, I'm like, I need a full drink, you know? So I would chug the rest half the time. That's why, like, I'd be 7, 8 mixed drinks deep in the first few, 2, 3 hours. I'd be wasted. There was something about it. Like, I always had to have a full drink. When it got below half, I was more prone to just chug it and refill, and I'd make them strong, man. Or the 8%ers, like, I had to have a stash pile. I always had to have more than I needed. That's a whole other video. I'm sure you can relate. I always had to have more alcohol than I needed. Like, if I thought it might be too minimum to get wasted, I needed more. I always had excess. Whether I was at a house party, at home, it was like I always had to have way too much. So there were people like, wow, that's a lot of alcohol. Well, I wouldn't drink it all, but it was a mental thing. And I'm so grateful to not be dealing with that anymore. Like, my gosh. It's exhausting. My anger is still terrible. That's the one side effect of this, man. Like, my anger's through the roof. With, like, no nicotine, no alcohol. Caffeine's ramping me up. I feel like once I quit caffeine, it will help. But when I got sober for more than 6 months, that is the one thing that came to surface. Like, I was suppressing that a lot, and I didn't even know it over the years. I could always get angry and triggered, right? But, like, being sober, a lot of people, they're puffing on stuff. You know, they got their weed, they got their nicotine, they're drinking, they're having a few drinks after work, they're going out on the weekends getting blasted. When you take all these vices away, that is one thing, and I've talked about this frequently. It's hard for me. That's one thing I'm struggling with. I get frustrated, you know, and I get angry, and it's on me. And that's the last thing I got to master is the anger. And I'm sure some people can relate. Like, if you're still, I'm not talking if you stop drinking and you're still smoking pot or still smoking nicotine, that's cool. But I'm talking like full throttle, no vices. And if you're still, caffeine's a vice too, but like this ramps you up, so it's not helping me. But yeah, if you're like sober from alcohol but still smoking anything, like, yeah, you still have a vice to go to, right? When you completely negate all these things, that's when it comes to fruition a little bit. And I'm very open about it, and I'm working on it. And the gym helps greatly. The coffee does not. It makes my anxiety and it makes me ramped up, and it's not good. I feel like the coffee being taken out in the future will help. Maybe I'll seek some more meditation, something. But it's just last hurdle in my journey, the anger, man. Whew. Like, everything got taken out, and that like sort of boiled up to the top of the surface. Because like when I would drink on the weekends, it would sort of like mentally exhaust me, and I couldn't get mad. I'd be miserable, hungover, but like the anger wasn't really there because I was vicing out, man, when I was vaping and all this stuff. But it is what it is. Yeah, that's about it for this video.